Thank you for that, Ed. A lot of folks were hoping the president would give more information about what will be next in terms of the flight, the Malaysia Airlines flight MH17. Today we got a hint of that. The president speaking at the White House today. Here is a brief clip of what he had to say.
As I said before, you have international teams already in place prepared to conduct the investigation and recover the remains of those who have been lost. But unfortunately, the Russian-backed separatists who control the area continue to block the investigation. They've repeatedly prevented international investigators from gaining full access to the wreckage. As investigators approached, they fired their weapons into the air. These separatists are removing evidence from the crash site, all of which begs the question, what exactly are they trying to hide?
Well, the president also put more pressure on Vladimir Putin to step up to the plate here. Of course, the president did not take any question from the media that were assembled there. We'll keep you updated as we get more information in terms of the situation on the ground. Meantime, in the Middle East, so far today, more than 60 rockets have been fired into Israel by Hamas militants. The Israeli Defense Forces say 14 of those rockets were intercepted by the Iron Dome. As of today, some 1,800 rockets have been fired from Gaza, which on average has about 140 rockets launched off each day.
Israel is fighting for the entire Western world, the entire civilized world, because if terrorism is allowed to continue from hospitals and mosques and schools, and that's what Hamas uses to launch their rockets, then, it's coming to a theater near you.
There, of course, is Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz speaking to us on America's Forum earlier here today. Meantime, Israeli airstrikes continue to pound Gaza as the death toll among Palestinians climbs over 500, that according to health officials inside Gaza. Meantime, 20 Israelis have also died in Operation Protective Edge, including 13 soldiers who died this past weekend. As we just told you there, Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz talked about the situation and says that John Kerry may not be able to do much as he moves over to that region today to try and address the situation, headed to Cairo, the Secretary of State is. However, Israel has also caught a lot of heat from some news organizations and some pro-Palestinian activists for attacking many of the sites due to fear of casualties. But this week, Bill Maher, a liberal comedian who many of you are familiar with and talk show host, said Israel isn't getting a fair shake and agreed with conservative guests on his show, on his HBO show, that who is really to blame for this crisis? Well, it's Hamas.
Nobody seems to ask, whose fault is that mostly? I feel terrible for a Palestinian child who dies, but if it's your father, your brother, your uncle who is firing those rockets into Israel, whose fault is it really? Do you really expect the Israelis not to retaliate?
Well, we heard from Michael Reagan earlier on America's Forum asking where Hollywood is. It's rare to hear Bill Maher step up, but he weighed into the fray on his program. As we mentioned, Kerry headed to Cairo today. Not sure what he expects to have happen there, but we do expect him to lean a little heavier on Palestinian authorities to accept that Egyptian-backed ceasefire plan. More ahead here, more news in 30 minutes. Now back to Ed.